A very good day to you. Welcome to Herman Manyora's YouTube channel. It's a new year, 2023. Happy New Year. I hope you're doing well together with your family, your loved one. Your work is doing okay. So let's get into it. These are our usual political conversations that are simple, truthful. Prof puts them across in a hard-hitting well. And yes, they are unbiased. How are you? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
How have you been?
Wonderful.
Where are you hiding?
Luombe village.
Yeah?
Right in the village.
Right
Fresh
in the village.
air and
Yeah?
fresh food, everything fresh.
Yeah, I was
Genuine people. Everything there is fresh and genuine.
genuine.
Of course.
You say Nairobi ni shamba la mawe.
Kila mtu mkora.
I don't know if you've seen the billboards by Sakaja. Welcome back to Nairobi.
We are back.
Yeah?
Thank you, Sakaja, for welcoming us back.
But we'll talk about Sakaja later. I want us to talk a little bit about how we finished the year last year. Raila having an interview at Citizen TV saying he hasn't said he won't run in 2027, but there seems to be a push to have Kalonzo take over his position. I saw some articles where you gave your opinion saying Sakaja, not Sakaja, but Kalonzo is the right person. It's just natural flow of things. Is Kalonzo going to be Raila's inheritant when it comes to Azimio and the coalition itself with his backyard?
You know, Kalonzo has been with Raila against all odds, especially last election. And it's only natural that if Raila is not running, then he should support somebody, and that somebody naturally seems to be Kalonzo Musyoka. Well, there's between Martha Karua and Kalonzo Musyoka, but Kalonzo Musyoka comes first by virtue of seniority.
It seems it's not just about them wanting to be supported by Raila. Yes. I think it's Kivuda Kibwana they're trying to push Kalonzo to think about ditching Raila and being a man of his own on this other side. There's a lot of push. There's a lot of push.
Where is Kivuda operating from?
He's now
from enemy territory.
Yeah.
He's operating from enemy territory.
So you should not consider.
Kivuda Kibwana, just dismiss him. Yeah.
But what about this push? Because there are also other MPs within Wiper that are saying we're going to come up with a big announcement, and then we're having Kalonzo also saying almost the same thing, and then there's this conversation. Is this a good gamble? If Kalonzo says, look, I'm now ready to take over the mantle and stand up on my own till 2027, it doesn't matter whether Raila supports me or not.
That's his choice. But, you know, politics is the only game where people, even without the slightest chance, always say they'll win.
Okay.
So he's free to say it, but how far will he go?
Looking at Kalonzo,
that is the reality. And Kalonzo is a seasoned politician. When people blame Kalonzo for supporting Raila, sometimes I ask them, why do they underrate Kalonzo? Kalonzo is a seasoned politician. He knows on his own where will he go. But people make blunders. Look at Mudavadi, he made a blunder. Mudavadi was heir to the Raila throne.
But right now he's the prime minister.
Which prime minister?
How about now being in government?
And again, Mudavadi is 60 or so years old. Born 1961. He's 61, 62 years, 60 years old. In 10 years, will he have the energy to run for election? He doesn't seem to have the stamina people like Raila and Ruto and Moi have. You know, Moi had serious stamina. Raila has had serious stamina. That's why at 77 he still looks like a boy.
When I listen
will Mudavadi really be strong at 72 or 70?
Why are you saying that? Ya Mungu hayo, we don't know.
No, he will be alive, but yes, will he have the energy?
The energy, I'm saying.
To run for president. No. Me, I tell people the truth because I'm a good person. And I love people. So I think he would have negotiated quickly within the Azimio or the Raila coalition for space, a very serious space, other than the peripheral thing he went to get, where he has now been crippled. So Mudavadi now is not a politician.
He's not.
He's supposed to be like just a minister, a civil servant. Yeah, in our Wetangula, they are now civil servants. So the space in Western that has no politician among them.
Talk to me. They're saying there's no politician among them, but still they hold sway. I see that.
Which hold sway? They don't hold any sway. Time will tell.
Likes of Francis Atwoli too.
But time will tell.
I'm looking at Azimio now, and I was reading an article says this is Raila's big headache, whether to vie, who to support, and if Uhuru goes and does this handshake the Gikuyu people want him to have with Ruto once again, if he does, where will Raila be? Because there seems to be a lot of pressure in this year, 2023.
That question has been asked of Raila many times. In 2013, people asked, where would Raila be without Mudavadi, without Nyaga, without Ngilu, without Ruto, without the Pentagon, the entire Pentagon. But you know Raila got there, just almost won the election.
Yeah.
In 2017, they said people have bolted. So where is Raila? Raila is finished. But you know, the Supreme Court told us that, well, that election was not quite fairly won by Uhuru Kenyatta. That means Raila could have won it. So even this year, people said all manner of things after Mudavadi also left and Wetangula left. Say this guy is finished. But surely, even if we go by the declared results,
Yeah.
let's just say Ruto won fair and square, okay?
22.
And Mudavadi and Raila was number 2.
Yeah.
What was the difference in votes? 250,000?
Yeah.
Raila almost 7 million, Ruto 7 million.
7.1.
It's at 6.9. Yeah, so to say Raila is finished because somebody has walked out of him, on him, it is not borne out by facts and by history. Raila is master at creating and recreating politics.
Okay.
Yeah.
From this article, it seemed as if the author trying to put it as if Uhuru joins Ruto publicly,
Yes.
it's as if Raila will lose more than he lost in the previous election. Would you read from the script?
No.
Is it a headache for if we see Uhuru-Ruto public handshake?
That's
Whatever?
not how politics works. If Ruto and Uhuru came together, it will play into Raila's hands. So yeah, Wakikuyu na Wakalenjin, okay. Now it will confirm that Uhuru was playing Raila, number 1. Raila has denied that thing. He can never listen to anybody suggesting that. And there are many other people, I included, who don't believe that Uhuru played Raila. I don't believe it. But if that happens, those of us who believe Raila wasn't played by Ruto, by Uhuru, will be very few. Will be too few to matter.
Yeah.
Everybody, those who believe Uhuru played Raila, they were working with Ruto, will be outnumbered those who say otherwise. Number 1. Number 2, it will create two versus the rest. Yes. That's the time Tosha from Raila will whitewash Ruto and Uhuru and send them into oblivion. That moment they will create it. If Ruto went to work together with Uhuru now, and Raila tortured somebody, that this Kalenya and Kikuyu think this country belongs to them, they'll be whitewashed. Especially if Raila has now not run.
What is this? Because it seems as if you say there's a baggage somewhere that Uhuru might bring with this handshake towards
Yes, it will be worse. If I'm Ruto, I wouldn't touch Uhuru. I wouldn't, because the Kalenjin Kikuyu thing will now be on the surface, up there for everybody to see. It will be very difficult to sell that Ruto ticket outside Mount Kenya and Rift Valley. It will be very difficult. We'll be back to 207.
What I want to know is, I'm looking at the people in the political...
That's the time you find how tactful Raila can be and strategic at the same time. That's the time you just pick someone and say, let's see how far Kikuyus and Kalenjin can go in this country.
Wasn't it that opened back in 2017 when we were looking at Uhuru and Ruto with the Jubilee? Wasn't it that open that Kikuyu,
no, but you see, they didn't create
Kalenjin,
the anger. No anger was created. In 2013, sufficient anger was created that Raila and foreigners want to impose a leader on Kenya. That anger was sufficient to take Uhuru to State House with Ruto. The anger was created that Raila, working in cohorts with foreigners, want to take Ruto and Uhuru to ICC so that they can impose a leader on Kenyans. That anger is what became the narrative of 2013. There wasn't such a narrative in 2017. In 2027, if Ruto were to shake hands with Uhuru, the narrative will be Kikuyu and the Kalenjin against the rest of Kenyans. It's not a very bad thing. It's not a very good thing. But that's what will be. That is a powerful narrative that will create sufficient anger to send Ruto to Surgoi with very few votes.
But looking at it this way too, there's Rigathi Gachagua. Some speculate he's going to be the running mate of Ruto in 2027. Isn't that also the same kind of thing? Is it really? Kikuyu, Kalenjin, Rigathi Gachagua.
That's where the danger comes, because in 2027, if the ticket is maintained of Ruto and Gachagua, it could sail through, but people will say, okay, fine, let us fight them, this and this. Assuming Uhuru has not come into the picture, it can still sail through, win or lose. But when it comes to 2032, for Gachagua, it'll be a waste of time to run. He should not even run. Oh, forget about it.
Oh, why so?
You needed a very powerful narrative, the hustler narrative, and support from very unlikely quarters. And the deal cutting between Ruto and the deep state and perhaps foreigners, Americans and British, for a Kalonzo to succeed Akikuyu in 2022. Because of the politics of the land and because of the power of incumbency and so on, Ruto could slip through, fluke through, or actually just win. And that is the end. If you try to bring another Kalonzo in Kikuyu in 2032, my friend, that is, it will be like climbing Mount Everest or Mount Kenya barefooted.
Then from what you're saying,
it's not going to be possible. That will not work.
I'm saying it's as if you're advising Rigathi to go in 2027.
It's simple. It's a no-brainer. Because in 2027, if Rigathi runs and there's no other strong Kikuyu, he only has to create something between him and Ruto. Say, this guy
lied about the
complained that
economy.
Uhuru mistreated him. Why is he mistreating me? Then then galvanize the Kikuyus. If Rigathi runs, Ruto runs, Raila runs, or somebody else, or Kalonzo, and another person, there will be 4 strong candidates. Any one of them can be president. Any one of them. There will be no front runner.
So you're saying the best political future for Rigathi is to ensure
2027.
he goes against his president.
2032, no Kenyan can listen to Akikuyu succeeding Akalenji. It's not possible. It's a no-brainer. It's not possible. Absolutely not possible. It required this hustler narrative for Ruto Akikalenji to succeed Akikuyu.
But we know
it was tough. You can imagine how popular Ruto seemed. How obvious he seemed to be sweeping this thing. Until the votes are counted, and if you are to believe the votes, he barely scrapped it through. That tells a story.
When you look at now what you've just said about Rigathi, Uhuru, Ruto, and now we were speaking about Kalonzo Musyoka and Azimio coalition, what would be your advice for Azimio guys? Should they let or leave Raila to run, or should Raila be the one to say, it's time for me to
There's something I've been saying. Politics is a game of dynamics. Perhaps no other game is defined by dynamics more than
politics.
They say in football, 1 minute is dangerous.
Yeah.
You know, and it happened even this World Cup. Yeah. I saw a huge team. Just came from behind.
France against Argentina.
Yes. But in politics, it's even worse. So we don't know what will happen between now and 2027. Also remember, it's my firm conviction that henceforth, our elections will not be about 5 years. We are going to witness mid-term elections, where a president is put to task and he leaves before his term is over. Through impeachments, through what? We are going to have all those things. And all of them will be constitutional. That's where we are heading. Because even the architecture of our constitution itself does not make us firmly a presidential system. We are not parliamentary, neither are we firmly presidential. It leaves a lot of room for impeachments and things of that nature. So if you look at it that way, you then ask yourself, those who are saying Raila should not run again, supposing the elections were called next year, which is a possibility, there can be elections next year.
He might be the most suitable person.
He'll be the most suitable. Okay, supposing we go full term in 2027, he begins to look most unlikely.
Will he have the energy?
Well, no, he may have the energy, but the name, there's fatigue with you keep doing things, people also get fatigued. And a lot of water will have passed under the bridge. And it depends the circumstances that lead us to an election. You can face an election with a momentum such as that of Rainbow 2002. And in such a circumstance, the most natural person will be the leader of the movement, which will be Raila Odinga at whatever age.
Okay.
You could reach 2027, what the country is crying for is a transition, a Mandela, to to transit the country and to hand over the country to a certain type of leadership, to midwife the change. And that Raila may be the most obvious candidate. But again, it could just be natural that Raila should not be running, he's not running, and then the natural successor or AI will be Kalonzo Musyoka. It depends on those things.
So we just have to wait and see the dynamism of it all. But finally, in 2023, is this going to be the year where we know who's likely to take on Ruto, or still on dynamism?
You cannot know who will take on Ruto in 2023. What you can know in 2023 is whether Ruto will get it to 2027 or not.
Thank you for tuning in to our political conversations that are simple, truthful, hard-hitting. Have yourself a lovely rest of your day. Happy New Year. I do hope all the desires of your heart are met in 2023.